Hello everybody! So in this video, I'm gonna talk about working in France based on my experience. So first, I want to give you a brief background. I'm married to a French national. I arrived here July 2015. I was an elementary school teacher back in Philippines, and I was also an English teacher in preschool in Japan before arrival. So mostly my field is in education, but here in France I did several types of job, and here they are. So first, I did auto entrepreneur as an English teacher. Second, I also did waitress. Third, I did the ATSEM, or it's Agent Spécialisé des Écoles Maternelles, so it means I'm an assistant to the teacher. And then I also work as an employee in a logistics company, and now I'm a full-time mom. That's also a job. There. So there you are. So now let me discuss each job that I did. But even though I did not mention your field, you might want to stick around on this video because there are some helpful tips how will you survive in France. So there. So the first year is all about adjustment period because I arrived here with zero level in French. Like it's even below zero. It's cold down there. So it's nothing. Fortunately, the French government, they gave us a free French course. They also gave us orientation about life in France and orientation about civics. Now, these three they're very important because at the end of the formation and the two orientations, they give us certificates. Now, these certificates, you need them to. I need them. We need them to renew our resident card. So even though I'm married to a French national, I need to submit these documents and together with my partner present ourselves in the prefecture. So it's to prove that the love is real. So there. So these three certificates are important. Next, in the first year also, I exchanged my driving permit. Now this is important because I live in the countryside. We don't live in Paris and I don't live in Tokyo anymore. So we need to drive. So I exchanged my Philippine driving permit to the prefecture. And now I have the French permit and I can drive cars and motorbikes. Yeah. There. And it's important to remember that you have only 1 year to exchange your driving permit. So hurry up. Next also, I also did my own formation. I paid for it. It's a certificate for teaching English as a foreign language. So that one is just to improve my CV and to update my teaching strategies for teaching English. There. And at this year also, I contacted the ENIC-NARIC. The ENIC-NARIC is the one who reads the diploma. So I have my diploma, Bachelor of Elementary Education in the University in Philippines. Now, they gave me the attestation of comparabilité. So, in that paper, they showed that my diploma back in Philippines is considered as licence bac plus 3. So it means it's a good level of study. If you have masters, you have bac plus 4 or 4. If you have doctorate, you have bac plus 5 or 5. So there, that's important for my future applications. And also this year, I started the auto entrepreneur as an English teacher. So why did I start this one? Because I was giving some lessons and they pay me by cash. And I researched that you can make it official by being an auto entrepreneur with URSAF. Now, so we need to declare our revenue and we have to pay 25% of tax. There, so that's why some language lessons are a bit expensive because, of course, we need to pay the tax. So for the other fields, if you're not into teaching, if for example you're into baking, you're into pottery or other hobbies that you like, so this auto entrepreneur or micro entrepreneur you can start your own business here in France. So there you are. So that's the first year. And the following year, the second year, the end of 2016, I registered in Pôle Emploi. So Pôle Emploi is an agency that helps you find job and finance your formation to realize or to attain your project. Now Now, I asked a formation from them, and it's called Aide individuelle à la formation libellé français langue étrangère. So there. So this formation, I will study again. Now, I got lucky to be granted with this formation. Why lucky? Because some people abuse, because this formation is financed by Pôle emploi, and at the same time, they're gonna give you a monthly allowance. Imagine, wow, that's cool, right? Like you're learning at the same time, and you have a little bit of cash around you. It's like an allowance. So there. Now, through this stage, through this formation, we have the right to have the on-the-job training or stage. Now, this is what I'm after because I want to know how does it work in the educational system here in France. So my stage was to be an ATSEM. ATSEM is an Agent Spécialisé des Écoles Maternelles. It's the assistant to the teacher, as I've mentioned from the beginning. And this formation is started from September to January. And then the on-the-job training lasted like 1 month, 2 weeks in this school, 2 weeks in this school. And there, I discovered that I won't be able to do what I did back in Philippines and in Japan because practically, well, for me, I'm more of the English teacher in the elementary for the young learners. So, but here in the public schools here, it's like there's no separate English teacher. So the English teacher is also the mathematics teacher, the history, and the science. And I don't have yet that level to teach all subject matters in French. And you have to have a diploma to do it. Even though my diploma is considered Bac plus 3, it's not recognized to be a teacher. So that's another thing. And also, I discovered that there are certain people who are facilitating the canteen and the garderie. Canteen is to serve your food, and garderie is to keep the children after school. Now, so I explained to them that back in Japan, I was like assuming all the roles. I was a teacher. I was also the assistant to the Japanese teacher. We're also doing the canteen, serving the food, the lunch. We keep the kids, of course, in the afternoon, and even the after school, the periscolaire. There are some students going to the big school. They go to the nursery to learn English. So there you are. Now, after this stage, they hired me for 1 month and a half. So I was a substitute because the former ATSEM get burnout, get so tired. So this is a very good opportunity, and this formation is really useful for me. But also at the end of my work as an assistant to the teacher, I got pregnant. So that's 2017. That's all about pregnancy. There you are. Now, but during that time, I continued my auto-entrepreneur as an English teacher. There you are. So it's really flexible. You can manage your own time. You can go to the house of your students. They can go here also there. So even 3 weeks after I gave birth, I already started. So there. But of course, I asked them a déplacement fee. If I go to their place, they have to pay for my fuel. There you are. So, but then, and yes, I will talk about pregnancy and to my other videos. Pregnancy in France. There. Next is 2018. Now our family is growing. My income as an English teacher is not enough. The disadvantage of the auto-entrepreneur is if you don't have a lot of students, though, so you don't earn a lot. So there. So now from this year, I started to look for another job, and I found the waitress job in Indeed.fr. So there. So I applied for this. It's a summer contract. It's a contract of extra because it's the peak season. It's summer. So in this job, I learned a lot also. It's also a great experience because it's get to know more of the culture of France. It's like through repas, through the French gastronomy. So I learned what wine goes with what food, how to prepare this dessert and all. But it's also pressure, you know, it's like in the Master Chef series, like, hey, catch, where's my dessert? Something like that. So anyway, so that was a short gig for me. There. And what else? After that, after the waitress job, a friend of mine referred me to a work agency called Manpower to do an interim job. So this interim job, I'm gonna discuss more about it to the other videos, but it's also a part-time job where you can have work for 1 week, 2 weeks, 1 month. So it's a really temporary and you're not committed to it. So for example, me, it's like I was hired through Manpower agency, but I work in Van Privé Logistics. Now, Van Privé Logistics is like an Amazon. So it's like we support the online shoppers and the shopaholics are there. So we prepare the commands and like deliver them. So there I stayed as an interim of Manpower to Van Privé Logistics from September 2018 to February 2020. So it was just recent. So it was also a great experience to discover the domain of logistics, and we're gonna explain that in the other videos. Now, so, but of course, when I know that I'm gonna quit the job February 2020 because we can only stay maximum of 18 months in this kind of contract. But we have a game plan, and this makes it more interesting. So if I stop, how about our finances? You know, it's like there are taxes to pay, bills to pay, as always. So the thing is, remember that the Pôle emploi. The Pôle emploi, it's also an agency that will support you during unemployment. So when I quit this job, it's just a temporary contract. It's not a permanent one. So it's an unstable contract. And when I lose the job, the Pôle emploi, I have the right to do the chômage. So what is chômage? Chômage. For example, you work for 6 months as a waitress and you finish your contract. So the Pôle emploi will give you an assistance. They will give you 70% of your salary for another 6 months, because you work 6 months. You have the government allowance for 6 months. You work for 1 year. You have 1 year of government allowance, which is so great. Now, this kind of chômage is like there's rules and regulations that I can discuss to the other videos. But me, for my situation, I have the right for this chômage, and so I'm very thankful that I could do my recent job as a full-time mom. And at the same time, of course, we're not gonna be lazy. Like the government pays me, I'm gonna stay here and sleep all day. No. So the allowance the government will currently giving me is that I use that as to finance my next project, which is to have the certificate for CAP Petite Enfance. That will allow me to do the job of ATSEM, the assistant to the teacher. So there you are. So I have 1 year to finish the diploma, and I have 1 year of chômage. So it's like it gives us a peace of mind. It's really helpful, this kind of help. But of course, we will not abuse it. There you are. So now I'm still on my way to land a job as in the daycare centers, or even in école maternelle or in école primaire. So it's like what I could offer, but now that I'm bilingual, so that I could take care of the children, and at the same time I can do English workshops, just like the one I did behind me. So there you are. I hope it's gonna be useful. So if you have any questions, suggestions, or clarifications, please don't hesitate to comment below. There you are. So this is my first video. So thanks for your support, and voila! Ciao! Thank you!